So we can talk about the prophets of Allah. The author said, throughout history, Allah sent prophets, men who receive revelation from Him, the prophet. And you're not going to explain what that means. You might ask. If you ask, then that's good. That means he's following you and he's thinking. That means he has potential to learn more and more, because he's being critical of what you're saying. On the other hand, he might be just absorbing all of it in his due, so he doesn't ask. Or it might be clear enough for him at the moment, he's not going to ask for now. That's fine. But you're going to stick to the basics only. So, throughout history, Allah has sent prophets, men who receive revelation from Him. They are the greatest creation of Allah. The first of them was Adam, and the last and greatest was Muhammad. They all have certain necessary qualities so that they could be successful, so that they could successfully fulfill their mission, which is calling people to Islam. Among those qualities is that they are beautiful, courageous, intelligent, truthful, and trustworthy. Without going into details, they are impeccable, protected from ever committing blasphemy, major sins and small abject sins. They never worshipped anyone other than Allah. They perform miracles, which are extraordinary supernatural matters created by Allah and performed by he who claims to be a prophet. They prove his truthfulness, comply with his claim, and they cannot be outdone. Now that is so summarized. There's so much information behind all of those sentences, which you're not going to go into any of that with the new person. Question, you said, I remember someone saying that if someone looked at Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they couldn't look away because he was so handsome. Is this true? I haven't learned that. I don't remember that I heard that. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But if a person saw him, he would be awestruck. If a person saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would be surprised. When his sight falls on Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he finds himself stunned, surprised, struck. Yeah. And it's not just from his beauty only. His whole demeanor. He has awe. He has what's called in Arabic hayba. The hayba is like awe. It's like a presence. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So, some of the prophets were messengers. They came with a new law. We follow the laws revealed to Prophet Muhammad and believe in what was revealed to all of the prophets. When you talk to this new person, you might have to clarify who's Jesus and what happened. That Jesus came with Islam like all the other prophets, and that he was raised to the sky, he wasn't crucified, and that his teachings were perverted, and that's where Christianity came from. But don't offer that if you don't have to. Because remember, this new person still needs to pray. You taught him the basic belief. You just want to teach him enough belief so that he has the right belief. So he'll be a believer with good aqidah. Because you still need to teach him how to pray, how to perform purification in prayer. Okay. So, you see how summarized that talk was about the Prophet. It's enough to give the person the correct belief. Now, purification. The accountable Muslim must pray all prayers on time, and thus must immediately learn not only the prayer, but also some of its conditions, namely 4 matters of purification, which is, according to a definition, that which permits prayer. Purification, that act which permits the prayer. Simple definition, because he's new. As a rule, a general rule, the beginner does not tolerate details. We said here he needs to learn not only the prayer, but also some of its conditions, namely 4 matters of purification. What are those 4 matters? Ghusl, wudu, istinja, and maybe how to clean najis. Maybe. Right there, though, cleaning najis and removing najis, that's automatically a heavy lesson. So that one, you can prepare not to talk about it. But you definitely need to tell them the ghusl, the wudu, and istinja. There's no escape from that. Ghusl. The first is the full shower in quotation marks because it doesn't have to be a shower. It is defined as making the water run over the entire body with an intention of worship. So you're going to tell him, well, I'll tell you what I usually do. I don't ask the person if they ever menstruated or if they ever had sexual intercourse or an ejaculation. Private question. But what I do is I'll say, if a person menstruated, if it's a woman, I would say, if a woman has ever menstruated or had sexual intercourse or ejaculation, if it's a man, I'll say to him, if a man ever had sexual intercourse or ejaculation, then this person needs to take a ghusl, which is just to make the water run over his body with an intention. In his heart, he's going to say, now I perform this obligatory washing so that I can pray, for example. Teach him different ways to make the intention so that he gets the idea. You tell him the person needs to intend to do this obligatory washing so he can pray, or to make the intention to perform obligatory ghusl, or make the intention to make this obligatory shower, for example, or something like that, some valid intention, so that his ghusl will be valid. I also usually tell the person the reason why you need to make an intention is so that you can make the difference between a worship and a habit. I usually tell that to the person because in my mind, I think it's important for the person to realize that he's doing worship and he's doing obedience, so he needs to be conscious of his intention and not be doing something that's just a habit. So he's not merely taking a shower that he might take every day, but he's performing a ghusl, which is an act of worship. There are 5 reasons for being obligated to perform this shower before praying. And again, we're using this word shower here just to keep it simple because it depends on where you are in the world. Right now I'm on the internet, so you could be tuning in from anywhere, and who knows what your situation is. But if you live in the West, for example, United States or Canada, or if you're living in Europe or Australia, then probably you have access to a shower. And most likely that's what a person is going to do is take a shower. But again, different people in different places have different situations. Okay? And remember that the rules of the religion are general for people all over the world. So I really don't believe shower is the best word. It's only here for simplicity, just to keep it simple. So there are 5 reasons for being obligated to perform the shower before praying. The first 2 are for men and women: sexual intercourse and ejaculation. And you usually don't have to define that for the new person. Okay? I don't. I'll just tell that new person, if someone ever had sexual intercourse or an ejaculation, he needs to take a ghusl. And leave it at that. The last 3 are only for women: childbirth and the termination of both menstrual and postpartum bleeding. When those 2 bloods stop, that woman needs to take a ghusl. It is performed by making an intention when the water touches the body and then washing the entire body with mere water. Now, you're dealing with a new person. When you're dealing with a new person, he needs to pray immediately. So, many times, you might be teaching this new person while you're actually in the masjid or the musalla. Right? You're in the musalla and you're teaching a new person. Now, if you have a shower in the masjid or the musalla, then you might want to suggest to that person to take his ghusl now. That's what I do. I'll say to the person, because usually I'm afraid that it's a very uncomfortable idea. However, it is an obligation and they do need to pray. So I will gently suggest to the person and say, now you need to pray before the time goes out. And if a man, to say I'm talking to a man or a woman, doesn't matter. So I would say, if a person has ever had sexual intercourse or an ejaculation, and if it's a woman, I'll say, or if she ever menstruated, then, and I usually don't mention postpartum bleeding or childbirth, but childbirth is probably good to mention. I would say, if this has ever happened to a person, then they need to perform a ghusl before they pray. And you need to pray before the prayer time goes out. So what I say to the person usually is, we do have a shower downstairs, so you're welcome to use it. You can take your shower now, take your ghusl now, and we'll pray before the prayer time goes out. And I don't remember any time when someone said to me no. I'm usually nervous about that because I am essentially asking this new person to go into this shower where he never went before and most likely take off his clothes and take a shower in there. But I don't remember anybody ever telling me no. Maybe one time one person told me they'll wait until they go home. That's his business. And keep in mind, brothers and sisters, now we're talking about purification, right? You only got to this stage with this new person because you determined that this person can take more. If in your determination, by looking at this person and observing, because remember, from the beginning, you're going to say, okay, I want to achieve with this new person A, B, C, and D. If I can't achieve anything, I want to achieve A. What's A? To make him know about the attributes of Allah and the belief in the Prophet. Once you finish A, now you're going to reassess this person. Does he have more, or is he fidgety? If he's fidgety, what does that mean? He's looking around a little bit, eyes, going back and forth, wiggling a little bit. What does that mean? Hello? Nobody knows what that means? You're talking to this new person. Okay? Right now, I'm going to come to your question, but hold on a second. Right now, we just talked about ghusl, right? Okay. You only talked about ghusl. The only reason why right now, if there's a new person here and I'm telling them about ghusl right now, in session number 1, I'm telling them about ghusl in session number 1, the same session I met him, because I made a determination that I can continue to talk to him. Because from the beginning, when you're talking to this new person, you're going to say, I want to achieve with this person A, B, C, and D. Step by step. If I achieve A, I'm going to look and see if I can achieve B. If so, I'm going to go for C. If I can, I'm going to go for D. What's A? Belief in Allah and His Messenger. You don't separate before you talk to that. Tell him that much. You're not going to leave that person until you told him that much, and you can tell him that much in 10 minutes. The belief in Allah and His Messenger. Now, you talk to him about Allah and His Messenger. Maybe 15 minutes. Depends on the person. Depends on the situation. You might be outside standing, walking. Might be on the bus. Your stop's coming up. Huh? So it all depends. But let's say, for example, you're in the musalla. You're not going anywhere. You're talking to him. You told him about Allah and His Messenger. You talk to him for about 10-15 minutes. And you see that he's fidgety. Looking back and forth a little bit. His fingers are moving around. What does that mean? Yeah, he's in a hurry. He's ready to go. He's already ready to go. His mind is occupied now. And good chances it's shaitan. You know something, even sometimes, brothers and sisters, I might tell a person about the devil. It depends on the person I'm talking to. Depends what I notice from it. It might look to me like he's getting waswas right while I'm standing there in his face. So I'll tell him that there's a jinn, there's a devil, he whispers to you. You'll be surprised that how many people would say, wow. So if he's in a hurry, he's ready to go, I'm not going to push him too much further. So I'll do with him what I think I can do with him. It's a judgment call. As they call it, as they say, it's a judgment call. That means you're just basically making your own determination. Because that person is not really saying to you, stop now, I want to go. So why should you stop if he's not telling you that? Experience. Your experience will let you know. Or else you're going to talk to that person until in his face he's telling you with his eyes, please let me go. Please stop. But he's just not going to say it with his tongue. Sometimes you're going to ask the person, you want more? You want me to continue? And that's 50-50. When you tell him you want me to continue, you might say yes. You might say, well, actually, so that's it, khalas. It goes this way and it goes that way. That's one you never know. So wait, let me take a look at these questions. He said, how about the cloth they are wearing is contaminated with urine or something similar? Well, I never personally asked them, and I personally have never even brought it up to anyone also. I never said to him. But if you have urine in your pants, for example, or you have urine on your body or in your clothing, you probably don't want to do that often. That's, kind of gonna, be offensive, maybe hurt his feelings, right? I'll assume he's okay. Question, what if she's on her menstruation at the time? Then it's that much easier. If she's menstruating at the time, then you can relax. Because you don't have to make sure she prays before the time goes out. If she's menstruating at the time, then you don't have to make sure she prays before the time goes out. So you can relax. When I say, brothers and sisters, you want to make sure this person prays before the time goes out, because when you talk to this new Muslim brothers and sisters, really, you should have in your heart a feeling of responsibility towards this person. You need to feel like you have a certain duty to this person to help them to a certain degree. So you don't want to just say, he's accountable for himself, man. I got things to do. I want to finish looking at my phone. You don't want to ask me about the prayer. He don't want to ask me what he needs to do. Well, that's on him. Look, you want to feel a certain duty towards this person. You want to make sure this person prays before the time goes out. New Muslim. Note, it is not an obligation that the ghusl be in the form of what is commonly known as a shower. It is only a condition that the entire body be washed with flowing water and not wiped with something wet. Wudu. Now, when I'm talking to a new Muslim and I get this person to take a ghusl, what I usually do is I give this person some very specific instructions. This is what I say. I'll say to that person, okay, now you're going to take a ghusl. This is what I want you to do. Listen closely. Go to the bathroom first. Take your ghusl with your intention, and don't touch your private parts with the inner palm. Why I'm telling him all of that? So that his ghusl will be enough for him to be able to pray. So he can come right out of that shower and then he can just pray. Then we don't have to go over wudu right now and go over istinja right now. Also, go to the bathroom first. Take your ghusl and don't touch your private part with the inner palm. I'll tell you why later. Don't touch your private part with the inner palm, and just wash all your body. Make sure the water gets everything. Then when he comes out and he's shining, he looks like 100% better because he just took his first ghusl. Then I would say to that person, so you didn't go to the bathroom while you took the ghusl and you didn't touch your private part with the inner palm? They'll say yes. I'll say okay. Just want to make sure. Because if not, you're going to have to make wudu. Right? Are y'all following me? Is what I'm saying clear? Right. So now we're ready to pray. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take him. I'm just going to show him how to do the moves of the prayer real quick. Show him the moves of the prayer. Draw it on a piece of paper. Maybe you've seen my stick figure. You know that stick figure picture I have of someone performing the moves of the prayer? That's actually what I give to a new Muslim. I draw that stick figure thing on a piece of paper. That was done for me when I first became a Muslim. One of the brothers drew it for me. So I didn't make that up. So I don't take the props for it. And then I'll show him. I will demonstrate for him. These are the moves of the prayer. I will demonstrate for him without putting my forehead on the ground because I'm not really praying. I'm just showing him. And then I'll give him example how to do 1 rak'ah, 2 rak'ahs, 3 rak'ahs, 4 rak'ahs. How to say the salam to end the prayer. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell him now, you're going to pray behind me. I pray with him. You pray behind me. Just say Allahu Akbar with your intention. And when I finish my prayer, I'm going to say Assalamu alaikum. And you're going to say Assalamu alaikum. So I make him follow Malik. So he don't have to recite anything in his prayer. And I pray. And he prays behind me and gets the prayer out of the way. And quickly I'll practice with him. Say Allahu Akbar. And then he'll try. I'm going to say Allahu Akbar. Allahu. Allahu, he says. Akbar. Then they say like Akbar. Allahu. He says Allahu. Akbar. Akbar. Make him practice. Allahu Akbar. Then he says Allahu Akbar. Then I'll tell him, to end your prayer, you have to say Assalamu alaikum. Repeat after me. Assalamu. Then he says Assalamu. Assalamu. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum. He usually won't say the ayn at first. So I need to point it out to him. Ayn. Alaykum. It comes from your throat. Alaykum. And then has to struggle, so he might say like alaykum. Relax. Alaykum. Alaykum. Assalamu alaykum. Then and I'll practice with him until he gets a working salam. Assalamu alaykum. Okay? Then I'm going to tell him, now you follow me. We're going to face this way. Stand up, stand back behind me a little bit. Don't let your heels get ahead of me. Okay? When we sit, don't let your butt get ahead of mine. And don't go ahead of me. Just follow me. I'll do a move, and then you do the same move. When I say Allahu Akbar, then you say Allahu Akbar with the intention. Then I'm going to teach him how to make the intention. And we're going to do all the moves. And then at the end, I'm going to sit. I'm going to say some words. And then I'm going to say Assalamu alaikum to end my prayer. And then you say Assalamu alaikum. And then I'll pray with him according to Malik. He says Allahu Akbar to start his prayer. Assalamu alaikum to end his prayer. And he doesn't recite anything in his prayer according to Imam Malik, and I'll be his Imam. And we'll get the prayer out of the way, then we can relax. Now I can teach him with less stress. That's clear? If it's a woman, and sometimes it's a woman, then what I've done when I've talked to a new woman is I'll do all the stuff that I already said. Then when it comes time to teach her how to pray, and then she needs to take her ghusl, then I'll go to one of the sisters because there's usually a sister or two who's always around, right? And I'll say this woman, she probably needs a hijab. She probably needs also something to cover herself so she can pray, some type of jilbab. And she needs a ghusl, so she needs to go to the women's room. So she needs the help of a sister.